Hi, everybody. It doesn't really matter what day it is here at Tiger Lily, does it? All that matters is that I'm going to tell you about finishing up our Quilt Builders card deck block of the month. And let's see, I don't have the last two blocks in there properly. And the last two blocks, this is December's, and it's called Mosaic number 7. And this is the free block, or block 13, which is called Road to California. Now, you probably have already done your blocks because I'm late at getting this up to you, but we'll run through them real quickly. And you know how there was that little debacle about how the name of the quilt got put with the wrong month. So if you haven't picked up your additional fabrics that we had cut for you in order to make that right, they're here waiting for you. And we're sorry about that. We had too many cooks in the pot. And me being one of them, which made it really bad news. So anyway, the Mosaic number 7 is, this is the block. And there are 4 different fabrics in there. And it shows you on the back what they are. And you are going to, of course, do the 12-inch block. And so from the white, you're going to cut 3 7/8 inch square. You're going to cut 6 of them because you need 12 cut on the diagonal. So there's going to be 12 diagonal pieces when you're done cutting those 6 squares. You need 2 of the medium. You need 2 3 7/8. You need 4 2 5/8 of the dark. Okay, this is the difference here. This is the dark. This is the medium. This is the white. And this is the light. Okay, and then from the light you need 4 2 5/8 by 4 3/4. And from the medium again, you need 1 4 1/4, which is going to go here. That's not right. Hey, no, it's not going there. It's going here, right here. I'm such a big help, aren't I? And then you need 1 3 1/2 inch white square, which is that one. Okay, so these are going to sew to this, and then this and this. Then this will sew to this, will sew to this, and same here. And so add those onto that piece. Then you take your half square triangle and you add those corners on there. Then sew those on, and that's that. Okay? Now the Road to California is this one. And basically what you're doing is you're making little bitty flying geese. I don't like to call them flying geese because people get freaked out about flying geese. So I just call them adding triangles onto triangles. How's that for better? So this is it. You only have 3 colors, right? 1, 2, 3. 3 colors on this one. And again, the 12-inch block. And A is the light, which is this one here. So it's the lighter of all the colors. And from that, you're going to cut 4 5-inch squares and 1 3 1/2 inch square. I bet you can tell which is which, right? 3 1/2 and the outer ones. Okay, from the dark fabric, or from the medium fabric, you're going to cut 12 2 3/8, and then you're going to cut them on the diagonal to have 24. And from the dark one, you're going to cut 3 4 1/4 inch squares, and you're going to cut those on the diagonal twice to end up with 12 pieces. Okay, so you have the dark here. You're going to add on the corners for all these pieces. Just take that and add those corners on, and then you're going to sew them all together into 3 groups of 3, and then you'll sew that to that to that, that to that to that, and that to that to that, and then those together. Okay, so that will have you finished all your blocks. So when you go to put your blocks together and because most quilters won't tell you this, but I never ever square up my blocks. And if they're not all exactly the same, they're generally within a 1/2 inch difference, okay? So if your blocks aren't measuring 12 and a half, they're probably measuring pretty close to the same each one. They can be 12, they can be 12 and a quarter, whatever they are. So when you go to put them together, don't square them, because if you square them up, you're going to cut off your points, okay? So when you go to put those together, so say for example, you are putting whatever, these two together, okay? Or if you want to go across the row, we'll go across the row. So generally what I'll do is I'll sew this row together, then sew this row together, and so on, and then sew those rows together. So if my blocks aren't exactly the same size, what I'll do is I will line up those points, put those together, put a pin through those points right there, and then stick another pin in and pull that one that you matched them with out, and then pin this end so it's even, and pin this end so it's even. So if one of these two is bigger, you're going to just ease this part in, okay? So always put the bigger piece on the bottom. So when you're sewing this row together, or these two pieces together, if this block is bigger than this block, flip it this way and put this one on the bottom, because your feed dogs will help you gather up that little bit of excess that you have if they're not the same size. And in doing that, you'll still keep your points, okay? Because if you squared that off, you would lose those points, and you want to keep those points. They say in quilting world that you can quilt out a B cup, but not a C cup. So if you have a little bit of ripple in there, it will quilt out. Once you quilt it, you won't even see that, okay? So if you go to sew some together that don't have a point to match, you're just going to fold that block in half, find halfway, and match it with halfway on this block. Again, match those ends, okay, and then sew it together. Okay, if you have any questions about that, just call me. I would be really happy, or come in. I would be really happy to spend time with you, helping you through that, especially you newbies, okay? But anybody, I'm always happy to help. Anybody here is happy to help. So the last thing you need to know, once you've got those all sewn together, and you don't even need to sew them in the same order, you can move these blocks, the pieced blocks, around anywhere you want. You know, if you don't like it in this makeup, switch it. Anyway, so the last thing then you have to do is put on your borders. So I just need to tell you that this border is cut at 2, okay? And this border is cut at 5.5, okay? So when you put on your borders, you're gonna measure, you're gonna have this piece done, you're gonna fold it in half and measure it and mark halfway, okay? And then this border, once you've measured this, you're going to back up. You're gonna measure this side, you're going to measure across the middle, and you're going to measure the opposite side, okay? You're going to, what is the word? Average those. So if say, for instance, this was 40, which it won't be, and this was 39.5, and this was 40.25, you're going to cut those borders 40.25, and just the way you made these blocks fit, you're going to make that border fit. So you're going to line up the center, line up the ends, and stitch that on, okay? And then you're going to do the same on the opposite side. Then do the same, measuring the other two sides. This will square up your quilt perfectly, because you know that you've made those two sides the same and those two sides the same. At which point, when you go to add on the bigger border, you can just measure what this side is and sew it on, and cut 2 and sew that one on, because you know they're the same. Okay? I hope that's clearer than mud. But if it's not, again, call, okay? And if you are interested in participating in our next year's block of the month, it's going to be, as you all probably know, oh, here we go. This one, Noel. and there will be a pattern sent to you by email, and the fabrics you will pick up on the third Saturday each month. And they're not going to be exactly these fabrics, but they will be Christmas fabrics. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're not going to do a video this time because it really doesn't need one. And you're going to do 3 blocks each month so that your quilt top will be done in October, so you will be under it by Christmas. Okay? So you can sign up for that online on our website. You can call, you can come in, and we'll be happy to get you signed up. So that's it for our Quilt Builders card deck block of the month. And I hope you'll continue to use these cards because they are really fun. Somebody was in today that said her sister's, oh, not somebody, Lydia was in today and said her sister's learning how to quilt, and she's been going through the Quilt Builders card deck, these little cards, and making pot holders. Isn't that a great idea? You know how I love samplers. I just love making all different blocks because it keeps you interested and it increases your abilities. Is that the way to say that? Anyway, I'm done. Happy 2023. Have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for participating, and I hope to see you soon. Love you. Be safe.